Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here with a smoky card for the Something Old, Something New card making hop. This is our September Something Old, Something New hop. It's where we use old items in our stash and combine it with something new, like something you've never used yet or something new to you. And gosh knows, we all got those sitting in our shelves, right? This hop is hosted by Annette over on the Facebook group Card Making YouTubers, and it happens every first Saturday of the month. So I combined a new to me, I just got it. It was a picket fence shake your tail feather stamp with a bunch of my old favorites. So embossing folder and a bunch of course, my Lindy's Magicals and my watercolor brush marker pens and some shimmer powders in there. And then a really old Spellbinders butterfly and dragonfly stamp. It was a rubber cling one way back. So you can see that I've wet the panel down, I'm putting the shimmers down, I'm putting the watercolor brush markers down, I'm bringing in some mica ink and putting that over top. It'll disperse while that other panel is still wet. The secondary panel is what I'm going to use for the focal sunflower and for the dragonfly. Just dripped them on, made certain it was wet, put a piece of plastic over top and smooshed it to spread them out. So while those are all drying, I'm going to jump over to the inside, and this is where I'm using the new thing, the picket fence Let's Shake Our Tail Feathers. So I grabbed the sentiments out of that. I thought I would use greens and yellows for the inside sentiments, so I'm starting my typical ombre with the lightest color, doing the yellows, and then I'm starting to bring in the greens. I will bring in a blue next to highlight that bottom sentiment. Most of the time you can get a blend by just angling your ink pad as you're putting it down on the stamp, but you can also bring in your blending brushes and tap all the way along that. It will help to disperse the ink evenly through there. I like using it for accents for specific words in the sentiments. Now I also brought in that Spellbinders butterfly cling set, and I had to take out my undergrip mat so that it would fit in there. I'm doing that in a lighter blue because dragonflies, right, they're iridescent and they're kind of blue and they're kind of green and all the different other colors. On the back, this is custom stamp that I got from Scrap and Stamp. I'm hoping they'll have them come back. I'm not certain if they will or not, but anyways, I've got 7 of them. I love using them. Over on the side there, the watercolor paper has dried naturally, and I'm having to remind myself, carry your painter's tape back at an angle so you don't rip your paper. Now, grabbed out the Simon Says stamp, the Sunflower Field embossing folder. It also has one little die for one focal sunflower. Positioned my panel in there. Going to run it through because this is a really thick one. I just run it through with the base and one of the cutting plates. And this is the one that I'm going to use for the focal sunflower, so it's a little bit brighter and it doesn't have all the shimmery stuff that's going on with the back panel, which is going to get changed, so don't worry about that. I fit it into spot. It should just like slot into place back into your embossing folder. With all that texture and embossing and the shimmer on that panel, we're going to need a really bold sentiment for the front because there's no way that you're stamping into that. I grabbed out Simon Says Stamp Lovely Shadow Die set. I did it in a metallic gradient with the yellows and the greens, and then I did the shadow layer for the back, and I also cut out a couple of extras in white for underneath the metallic cardstock. You can see I've got that all glued together and under acrylic block to weight it. At this point, I got a little smudgy on the inside of the card, so I brought in another dragonfly. I look at this and I should have just done another watercolor panel for the dragonfly that I was cutting out for the front because this is ugly. Like, that is butt ugly, the colors. But I thought I could save it. I am embossing it with some with some sparkle on the outside and then just some clear through the rest of it. For those of you new to my channel, hello, welcome. I am famous for getting myself into areas, mishaps, accidents, and then I have to work my way out of it. And I thought what I would do to work my way out of this, I tried some shimmer pen on it first, and then I set it aside, and I still I want to just work on the panel again. I'm cropping it down because when you emboss it, and this is the debossed side, of course it's got the edges that you have to trim off. What I did first was I used a metallic gold, and then I brought in the Lisa Horton gold. I put that over top. We've been experiencing very smoky skies here in the area that I'm in. We live in a forested mountain. It's been really bad here this summer. I thought, well, my garden is smoky. I'm going to make a smoky card. So you can say I put the gold down and then I put the white pigment ink down. It's still not achieving the effect that I want to go for. I thought, well, okay, just frame it in the meantime. So I put the foundry wax on it, heat embossed that. Because this panel has been wetted, because it has been embossed, it's got texture, and I used the ultra sticky tape because it does help to keep it down and keep it from buckling. Now I thought, okay, well, let's keep going with the smoky effect. So we brought in some black soot and we're just going around the outside edges, just around the corners. And what I'm doing there is I am wiping off the black soot ink that got on the foundry wax. And that foundry wax, you do have to heat emboss it because otherwise when it dries, it's just like powder and poof, she's gone, right? Anyway, I am putting some wiggle room on my panel on the ultra sticky tape. I will set it down on my card. And this is where I was like, oh, I think I know how I can fix that dragonfly with the butt ugly colors. So I brought my watercolor markers back out again, and I brought the blue and I put it all across him, and then I put like the yellow edging around it. For the sunflower, I wanted to bring in more colors in that it was pretty much a straight orange that when it dried out. So you can see again, watercolor brush markers and then some mica that I brushed over top. And that was the Harvest Moon mica spray, I believe. Then I thought, okay, well, I got foundry wax. I want to create unity through the card. So I need foundry wax somewhere else through the card, and I put it around the outside tips on the sunflower. Heat embossing it. For the sunflower seeds in the middle, because we all love putting brown in the middle, there's the brush marker, pushing it out through the veining on the petals. This is where I thought, okay, keep going. Just go wreck this panel. And I put glossy accents down with a little bit of the translucent crackle paste, and I mixed the two together and I put it across the top of the card, just the part that wasn't debossed so it would pick it up. And it dried with a really funky kind of cool texture. And I'm like, okay, that's looking really weird. You're like, how do you do that? Anyways, that's how you do it if you want to try it. I'm setting the lovely down while that crackle paste is drying. And then I set the sunflower into spot as well. That one I mixed, oh gosh, it was crackle accents and one of the Nouveaux and another one of the Nouveaux. One was a jewel drop and the other was one of the dream drops. Mixed them around. Figured that because that's going to take a while to dry, but I don't want the dragonfly to come off. That's why I put some foam over the parts that stuck out over the sunflower to bring it to the same level, and then stuck it all down into the wet goop. And this is where I'm texturing it. I just took the end of my picker tool and just kept dibbling it through there. All right, now, Mr. Dragonfly, because I went over top of him, the Nouveau pen with the watercolor markers, he lost his sparkle. So we brought sparkle back in with some stickles. I'm still not liking the panel enough. It doesn't have enough contrast, even though, of course, I was trying for smoky effects. So how am I expecting to get contrast? But I want a contrast anyways. So we put Versamark down, and then we brought in the purple and the dark blue chip sapphire and the violet embossing glazes, and then the black sparkle, and embossed that very carefully so that I didn't bubble the lovely. Then I am putting down some confetti. I am putting down some gold half pearls, and I still wasn't happy with it, but I said, just sit on it, just sit on it. It'll come to you. You could have stopped that panel at any point. Like if you wanted a really cheery one, just do it with just the gold over top, right? But I wanted something where you couldn't quite tell what was going on and you had to look further to find out what was happening. Thought I needed more accent on the flower, so I got out fabric paint. Beth, yeah, I dug through my drawers for that one. What else can I throw on there? Yeah, fabric paint. It added some yellow in on the sunflower. Put one little heart up at the top. I was staring at it late at night like, what does it need? So I was like, oh, it needs the yellow green like the lovely. So I brought in some Cool Mint Nouveau drops and dotted them all over the background. And finally, that's the finished card. Yay! And it's done for the hop. All right, you guys all go make a mess in your craft room. Be that change you want to see in the world. This one will get sent out too. I want to thank everybody that's been liking and commenting and subbing. That is great. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.